Does your household employ a helper? In 2015, there were nearly 332,000 domestic workers in Hong Kong. As more and more families are becoming affluent, they want to have more time to be able to relax and do other things they enjoy, or contribute more time at work. Therefore, some choose to hire a helper in the family to help take care of household matters. However, having domestic helpers is definitely not a recent phenomenon. They have been around in the form of servants in the earliest of civilizations. And along with this century-long relationship comes a deep-rooted problem: discrimination. Discrimination against helpers in Hong Kong is a major issue. Often, helpers are mistreated or otherwise subject to prejudiced eyes. The near torturous physical, verbal, and mental abuses helpers experience that have made it to the headlines may seem like overly extreme examples, but these cases in that time you may have subconsciously yet rudely ordered them to do something perhaps have the same roots. How, though? The work of domestic helpers is mostly that of helping with housework. However, domestic servitude had evolved to be associated with work that the proper members of the household considered too lowly to engage in. This slope in status between the employer and the helper causes a sense of inferiority among the workers and make the employers feel more superior to them. Also, most of these helpers come from countries in Southeast Asia such as Indonesia and the Philippines. Due to their completely different culture, they seldom integrate with Hong Kong's environment and often stand out in extreme contrast. This has furthered discrimination and suspicion towards them on ethnic, linguistic, and cultural grounds. They enhance the perception of the workers as part of an others group, with other customs and culture. In that case, why does discrimination in general happen? Let's look at this from two perspectives, namely nature versus nurture. Is it human nature to discriminate, or is it the result of our environment? The answer is both. We inevitably discriminate as humans, but the ways in which we discriminate are results of our past experiences. First up, nature. Discrimination have evolutionary roots. Those who tend to discriminate and deem themselves superior often get exactly what they want by suppressing those that are weaker. They, then, become the ones that are more likely to survive. Secondly, nurture. We humans tend to generalize and stereotype according to our experiences in the past. Aren't all leaves green, and don't all birds have feathers? This form of reasoning is called inductive reasoning, where one infers the general from a specific example they see in the past. These generalizations lead to a discrimination. For example, Hong Kongers are often described as loud and noisy people. This is not entirely untrue, though. Have you been to the wet market on Sundays? However, this forms an incorrect, negative image of Hong Kongers. Just because some Hong Kongers are rowdy and undisciplined doesn't mean that all Hong Kongers act as such. The influence of nurture also comes in the form of the society we live in and how the people in there behave. An example would be discrimination based on status. Discrimination of status arises from the presence of a hierarchy, the ordering of human beings by status, occupation, wealth, etc. Discrimination arises from extreme adherence to such hierarchies, which results in some people becoming better than others by some measure, such as money. Human psychology has a tendency to equate hierarchy with inherent superiority and/or inferiority. Having a hierarchy is an inevitable feature for advanced civilization to properly function, as it allocates roles and distributes workload efficiently. However, it is not equal to discrimination. When you rank higher than someone on the social ladder, as in our earlier case with the domestic workers, you may feel a sense of superiority. Then, you may potentially take advantage of it, not treating that person as you may with someone you think that is actually equal to you. Then, there is cultural discrimination, which is based on differences. People tend to feel safe around others that generally have similar qualities to themselves. This is called the in-group bias. This means that if one is exposed to others outside of their safe zone, they most likely will feel uncomfortable. This tends to result in discrimination, where people only accept the safe people and push away anyone else. To sum it up, discrimination is a natural product of human society. However, it does not mean that it should be tolerated. Rather, we should be aware of how we discriminate so we can make better judgments when interacting with other people, and avoid emotional as well as social damage to others. We should also be upfront with our prejudiced views and the ways with which we think. Get out of the safe zone and ignore the potential discomfort. Instead, take it as a chance to learn to be unbiased. Try to find more similarities than differences. For instance, with your helper, acknowledge that both of you live under the same roof and treat each other with respect. Discrimination is a chain that is holding us back. It is the side effects of civilization. Although it is impossible for us to end every single instance of discrimination taking place in the world, we can all do our best to try to mitigate it and keep an open mind while treating others the best we can.